It is working. It's working.
Sweet. All right. Well, we're going to, we got 4. That's good. That's good. All right. We're going to have a little fun today, and hopefully, I want to learn from you, especially those of you that have done this a little bit. And I'm going to also bring my experience. But I found these really, really cool. I think they're really cool. I'm excited with these flashcards that have a different objections for real estate, and on the back they have like different ways to overcome them. And so I have a few extras here that we'll see how we can get those out. Got them on Amazon. 20 bucks. I think they're pretty good, and they got good reviews. So I was like, all right, let me give them a try. I bought one and I was like, ooh, that is really good. And I've ordered 2 more. So, okay, let's have a little fun from the get-go. This one's called wrong answers only. Wrong answers only. Okay, so I'm going to give an objection, and you are going to give me the wrong answer. Okay. Like, well, for instance, let me start here. I'll just pick some random ones. I'm not going to give you my info. Like if they're at an open house and you meet a buyer and they're like, yeah, I'm not going to give you my info. What's a wrong answer there?
To put that granola bar down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Put that granola bar down. Get out of here. What else? I'm not giving you my info. Wrong answer, Linda.
That's fine, then I can't help you.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be like, yeah, I wouldn't give you my info either. So here's where the heckling comes in, Tony. Yeah, the seller says, yeah, I don't really want you to take photos of my house inside it, just the outside.
That's probably good because your house is ugly. Wait, are we still doing wrong answers? Okay.
Yes, I love it.
It's a mess.
Yeah, good. It's a mess in here. I wouldn't want to post these anyway. How about
definitely appeal to the blind folks out there.
yes, how about this one? Again, seller saying, I only want showings on the weekends. What do we say for that one?
Wrong one.
A wrong answer. I don't know. That one may not.
Well, I would agree to that, but you'll have to be present at all showings.
There you go.
I don't work on weekends.
I don't work on the weekends. Yes. Okay, let me try another one.
That's stupid.
That's the wrong answer. Well, that's stupid.
That's stupid.
That applies to all of them, right? Well, let's see.
Hi, Becca.
OMG.
She had a response.
Well, we can't hear you. Let's see. Let's see. How about this one? I think your commission is too high.
You should stop thinking.
You're so quick.
Sorry.
I'll be happy to lower it for you.
Well, then
That is the wrong answer. You're right. That is the wrong answer. Tony, what'd you say?
we can go back to the standard 6%.
We could go back to the standard 6% if you like. Yeah. All right. Seller says, I will not be making any repairs.
Well, then we'll see how you feel in 6 months.
I was gonna say, well, I guess you'll get to keep then.
Clearly, I'm not a participant.
Well, you hacked right into my class is all I know.
I'm trying to figure out your sound. I can't hear you.
Oh,
And I don't know if it's you or me. Your audio's on.
my audio is on and this all should be good. So I'm wondering if it's you.
me. But
Do you want to go to my computer and log in? Okay, see if you can hear me there. Yeah, just be you. Is there anybody else online?
no.
Okay, I was gonna say maybe they can hear me. How about this one? I want to talk to a few other agents.
Probably good. They're better than I am. I would do.
I would too.
Who are you talking to, Brandi? Oh, she's really good. She's way better than me.
Jenny from Century 21. Yes, hire her. All right, let me do a couple more. Wrong answers only. Hey, I've never heard of your brokerage. Which who hasn't heard of Keller Williams? But if they were to say that, wrong answers only.
For a small startup company.
Small startup, yeah.
You should come
Like
out,
Amazon.
out from under the rock more often.
This picture that these are actually set at people's kitchen tables, you know? How about this one? Oh, Taylor, how about this one? You look really young. I am, thank you.
I'm actually 16.
I'm actually 16. That's perfect.
Well, that makes one of us. I'm sorry. Sorry.
And smile, you're on camera.
That makes one of us. Oh my gosh. Okay. So what objections can hide in many different forms, right? Objections come to us all the time. They come to us in different ways. And it's not like court where they stand up and go, objection. And they, oh, here it comes, get ready. It's not like that, right? They just kind of get worked into everything. And we may not even know it's an objection. Sometimes it sounds logical. It sounds, it sounds like it makes sense. But one of the things that we need to know, let me see, make sure I got the right notes here, is that, hold on, that's not it. Yes, it is. That objections are just a part of the conversation. So if we're going to have conversations with buyers and sellers, we're going to run into different objections. And the more we spot them and we recognize them, the better we're going to do to overcome them. And why are you here? Why do you want to get better at handling objections? From your own personal experience.
So you don't feel caught off guard and someone stilted.
So you don't feel caught off guard. Mm-hmm. Yep. I would agree with that.
I ramble whenever I'm nervous. So I will overtalk if I'm not prepared.
Same. Anybody else do that? You overtalk when you're nervous? Maybe you don't feel quite prepared or caught off guard, so you just start word vomiting on them. We got to learn how to handle objections, because if we can learn how to handle objections, we can build a consistent business. And what are some objections that you've heard? I mean, I named some silly ones here, but what are some ones that we've actually heard in real business?
Rent another year.
We want to rent another year. See that? Okay. That's an objection when you're talking to, because originally they came to you probably as a buyer, maybe even buyer, and they want to rent another year. Okay. Yeah, that's an objection. What other ones have we heard? What's that? I want to wait on the market?
For the market crash.
Wait for the market. Wait for interest rates to come down.
Don't have enough money.
Don't have enough money. My credit's not quite right.
Didn't like any of the houses we saw online.
There's nothing out there for us. I already know another realtor.
Commission conversation.
The commission, your commission's too high. Yep.
Zillow said our house should be $40,000 more.
Zillow said our house is worth so much. Yep.
This house is great, but everything on every house. Those picky buyers.
Picky buyers. Yep. This house is great, except, and at every new house, it's something new. Mm-hmm. Got one of those right now.
Sell until we find something to buy.
Don't want to sell until we find something to buy. Yep. I'm not ready to sign your agreement. I don't want to give you my information. What else? I don't want to get pre-approved. Yeah. Or, I've even heard, I'll get pre-approved when I'm ready or when I find the house I want. How about that? We need to think about it. These objections, now they sound logical to the ear. Like, okay, well, why wouldn't you want to think about it? It's a big purchase, of course. And of course, so here's what we want to get down to. We need to understand what's going on in that moment. And if they give you a rejection, not a rejection. If we give you an objection, if they're objecting, that's not necessarily a rejection saying, I'm done, I'm out, I don't like you, get away from me, weirdo, creepy guy, girl. That's how it feels though sometimes, right? That's how it can feel. But an objection is usually just a request for more information. So usually when they have an objection, it's because there's something else they need more information on. And it's not necessarily a no. Now, you have to think about it. They got in their car and drove to where you are. They are somewhat interested in buying a house, or if they invited you over to sit at your kitchen table or their kitchen table, there's some motivation there. So if they push back suddenly, that doesn't mean the answer is no, hard stop. An objection simply means they need more information about something. So if someone says to you, hey, I think your commission's too high, what they may be saying is, hey, I don't understand why you're worth all that. We haven't done a great job maybe at that point of sharing our value and what we bring to the table. When someone says, yeah, I think we'll just wait till spring. Okay, again, sounds logical, and you may go, oh, okay, we'll get in touch next April. But what they're really saying is, they could be saying is, I'm just kind of scared to make the wrong decision. So they say, we're just going to wait. Someone says, I just need to think about it. We need to go home and think about it. Okay, what it could mean is that there's still something that they're uncomfortable with, but they don't want to actually tell you. So what we have to make sure that we do is we don't fight the objection. That's not our job. Our job is not to fight it. Our job is to get curious. Our job is to get curious about the objection. So we don't want to look at this as an argument. This isn't a debate that we talk about being out-scripted, and it sounds like it's a debate. It sounds like it's, okay, he said this, I'm going to say that, and then it's going to go back and forth. But really what it is that it's not an argument. We don't want to win the argument and possibly lose the client. Okay. So if, for instance, our job isn't to prove that we're right, even though we come into that situation with more information, more knowledge, more skill, more experience. Our job isn't to come in and prove that we're right. Our job is to understand what's keeping them from moving forward. And so if someone says, hey, Zillow said my house was worth $500,000. That's what Zillow said. And our immediate response is, well, Zillow's never seen your house. But sometimes we do say that, or some version of that. And so that's not, we may be right, but that's not going to win any brownie points with that client because they believe Zillow. And so even though we may be correct, you just made the client now go on the defense and now defend their point. And so it almost pits us against them instead of coming alongside of them and saying, well, I can understand that you would want $500,000 for your house. Help me understand what makes that number so important to you. So our job isn't to fight back and argue back and prove them wrong. That's not how we handle objections well. And so our job is to come alongside of them, join them in it, and go, tell me more about that. It's about getting curious. Another thing we need to do in these moments, slow down. That when we hear an objection, we need, a lot of us start talking right away. We just already mentioned that. I do it when I'm uncomfortable, when I feel caught off guard, when I feel, it almost feels like an attack. Sometimes it can, depending on how well we know this person. If it's somebody we just met, we don't know them and they don't know us, that can feel like a rejection or an attack on our character in some way. But if we just stop and slow down and, keep a level head, we can just sit in the moment for a minute and pause. But silence feels awkward. So we fill it with space and we start talking, and then we talk more, and then we talk more, and we talk more, and pretty soon we've lost their client. So instead, when they say, hey, Zillow says my house is worth $500,000. What do you think about that? And of course we think it's worth $425 or something. Then we need to pause, and maybe we ask them another question. It could be, hey, tell me more about that. Why is that number so important to you? Or, hey, that's a fair question. And then ask another question. Where did you, or when did you check Zillow last? Because I don't know if you check Zillow, it changes every day. If you look on Zillow about somebody's house, their algorithms are changing every day. But the best objection handlers aren't the fastest talkers, but they are the best listeners. So the people who listen the best, listen for us, because we like to be, a lot of us are leaders, a lot of us are go-getters, we're problem solvers, we're fixers, let's go. But we need to learn to be good listeners.
What did you say?
Exactly. Another thing is objections can feel scary when we feel unprepared. So this is why this is good, is because we want to practice here in this type of setting or in your home or in your office, practice first about the whole Zillow question, about all these objections. But practice that first before you're sitting at the table, sitting across from potential $12,000 commission. You should practice somewhere else first. Yeah,
And do your research.
and do your research.
Look up information on Zillow, which I'm sure you all know this already. Zillow's the first one to tell you that their estimates can be up to 30% off.
Yeah.
So if you have that information, if you're armed with that when you go into it, you can tell your client about Zillow's the first one to tell you they're wrong.
Educate them. Yep. Jake.
On the Zillow objection, I always have it written down on my paperwork when I'm over there, and I show them the data points. Say, hey, I had Zillow at 500,000, and then I had our comps at 420. I had Realtor at comp at 420. I had all these other things. So I had a cluster of data points at 420, and Zillow was at 500. So typically, what we look for is that cluster of data points to be reliable. Zillow, especially here in the Midwest, isn't always accurate. But whenever we have consistent data like these 6 points right here, that's where our data is. Did you have any comps that supported the 500,000? Because I didn't see any.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I'll ask them to show me the comp or whatever
Right.
it is.
Okay.
And so all my data points were here, and then I had one outlier here. And same with reverse. If Zillow said your house is 300,000 and all my comps said it was 420, I would disregard that as well. But did you have any comps that you used to get that 500,000? I didn't see any.
Right. Right. I like it. I like how you asked the question there. Tony?
Most of the people I work with are referrals, so I already have kind of established relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so have been known to sit there at the kitchen table and say, well, you know, the saying we all use, the A in Zillow stands for accuracy, but it stands for two things. It also stands for agent. Oh, there's not one? No, there's not an agent for Zillow either that's coming out to lose your house. So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I haven't heard the agent one. That's funny.
And for accuracy and agent.
I've used the accuracy one before. I've never used the agent.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. We do have to educate along the way because these people are coming to the table. They're not experts. They've probably maybe bought and sold maybe one or two homes in their life. They're not studying this. They don't know what we do. And so when they come and they say, well, my neighbor's house sold for 500. And then when you get down to it, the neighbor's house is nothing like your house, right? But they don't know. They're just like, well, he sold it for 500. I want. So sometimes we do have to definitely come and educate. So never, always, and you guys are all, you all know this already, but go into those listing appointments with the Zillow's estimate already. So that's not catching us off guard. Zillow said, I'm like, well, that's interesting because I pulled Zillow today and this is what Zillow said for me. And I can show them the date because I print it, I bring it with me, right?
Do you all use the real ABM off of the MLS?
Mhm.
I have, yeah. I bring four.
Do you find that to be a lot closer?
No,
I just think it's any better.
I just use it as a data point.
Data point.
If Zillow is here, Realtor's here, the MLS is right there, and then all my comps are right there, then I have 10 data points.
I just bring it as another source.
See, I like RPR for that. 'cause I'll print
RPR.
off the whole thing.
Okay.
And then I bring it there, as I'm sitting there, I say, this is what RPR says, it's what I pay to, and you'll notice on your tax bill over here, it says also what their range is. But I use this as a base, I come with this number, and we go up, down, depending on your house and what we're looking at here. And if you go into the CNA side of it, you can put your changes into it. A lot of times it's way whacked out, I'm looking at one bill now, the changes make it $400-some thousand back there behind happy. No, that's not accurate. So,
Yeah, I noticed that it's really inaccurate on like unique properties or land.
yeah.
Mhm.
And again,
Yeah.
it's just a base that
Yeah.
you're starting with. It gives you an idea going in, and it shows them something physically in front of them, and then they can even help you go down. Oh, no, you got a third bedroom downstairs. Okay, let's change that. You can see how that works out.
Yeah. So whenever you go, Zillow's one objection that we will face, and it's a common one, so I think it's definitely worthy to talk about. So when you're sitting at a listing table, that should not be the first time when someone says, hey, and objections come in different ways, right? So you may have can you lower your commission? But it comes as, hey, Jake said he would sell it for 2%.
Jake's a really good negotiator. He negotiated a third of away, of his commission away already. How
Yeah.
hard do you think he's gonna negotiate for you?
I
Correct.
care about my opinion, what makes you think I care about yours?
Correct. Yes, yes. Well, tell me more about that. Why, what, what would that do for you if we were able to do that? And here's the thing, guys, when we get down to it, a lot of times they kind of crumble a little bit. They come out like somebody will say, especially if you're, well, it doesn't matter. You may be sitting with somebody and they got great advice from Uncle Bob or mom and dad that said, well, hey, when you meet with your realtor, make sure you ask them to reduce their commission. Make sure you do that. Or, tell them my guy will do it cheaper or whatever. Well, so they're going to sit there and they might do that because that's what they were told to do. They were coached to do. But if you kind of push them on that a little bit, they might go, oh, it's okay. That's just something my dad told me to ask for, or something like you not push them. I don't even say it like that, but it's more like, hey, come from curiosity to go tell me more about that. And sometimes they can, and sometimes they can't. And so you can kind of dismantle the objections simply by asking for more information. When you're sitting there in an open house or you're working with a first-time home buyer, we have to get those agreements signed. Sometimes people don't want to agree to sign our agreements, right? I've had that. They're usually newer people, the people that know and, were referred to me, of course, they'll sign my agreement. No, they don't even read it. But it's the people that I just met or the people that are a little skeptical or whatever, you have to be able to overcome that and get that thing signed. And you've got to build their trust or win them over, build rapport, and get them to sign it. And so the first time you're sitting in an open house is not the first time you need to be practicing what to say in that situation. Comes down to script practicing, because script practicing builds familiarity. Familiarity, that's a good word. Can't spell it. Familiarity, then the more familiar you are, the more confidence you're going to have. Confidence then creates better conversations. They learn to trust you. They're like, wow, he really knows what he's talking about. She really had her stuff together. And that builds confidence in the other person. And it's these conversations that create more appointments and more clients. So script practicing, however you feel about that, is very worthy. It's a worthy activity we should be doing. Now, here's the thing. You don't need 100 scripts. You don't need 100 objection handling. I don't even know how many cards are in here. I don't even know. There's a lot. You don't need to know every single one of these. You need to know about 10 to 15 that you know really well, because those are the most 10 to 15 most common ones are the ones you're going to run into the most. Now, and then a lot of times you can pivot when you hear an objection and pull something from another way you would answer a question and pivot and answer it that way. So I would say, don't worry about learning 100 or memorizing this deck of cards. Learn to handle about 10 to 15 objection handling. Know your top 10. So when someone says, yeah, we're going to interview other agents, you need to know what to say. If someone says, I want you to drop your commission, I'm not ready to sign, I'm ready to wait, whatever it is, you can stay. So, thank you. So when you do, we're getting ready to start like practicing some of these. What we want to do is make sure we listen. We need to be good listeners. And then we need to acknowledge their objection. And just because we can't, if we're already thinking about what we're going to say, we're not interested. We may miss it completely. And I am really good at assuming I know what people mean when they say certain things. I'm really good at that. And
through their sentence, you're like, I know what they're going to say.
Yeah, I know what they're going to say, and I already know the answer. And they may have an objection about the timing of the year, and I may think, oh, they're trying to wait till school year's, going or whatever, something. I may find out, no, it's not about that at all. It's about somebody's job, and if I don't stop to listen, I may miss it, and I'm going to look like a fool answering a question they didn't answer. They're, responding in a way they didn't even ask. So listen, acknowledge, going, yeah, I can understand that. Show some empathy. So if they're coming to us with an objection of some kind, they're either afraid, possibly, or they need more information about something. So it's great to come alongside of them and go, wow, I can understand how that's important to you. And you're building that rapport instead of becoming this all-knowing big bad realtor that this kind of stuff freaks people out. A lot of times people get, and even if they act like they're good, sometimes they're nervous. These are big things, big money amounts, big dollar amounts, big changes. So, and then ask them a question. Tell me more about that. Or why is that important to you? Explain, help me understand that. And then they can explain what's going on. And then once you really understand what's going on and what they're actually objecting about, bless you, then you can come with a solution to address their concern. Because remember, your income is hiding in the conversations that we have with these people. And the better the conversations we have, the more commission checks we'll get to collect. So we've got to learn how to be great agents. This is part of the skill of being a skilled agent, is knowing how to help people through. You know, I've heard, you know, you pick up these little scripts from these pros around here. You know, they say when your buyer goes, you know, show them a great house, it's the perfect house, everything, it checks all the boxes, and they go, yeah, we want to sleep on it. Well, then what's the saying of all the OGs say? Well, if you're going to sleep on it, you won't be sleeping in it. Okay, that may be true, but that may not be the best approach, right? We got to find another way to overcome that objection and go, okay, you know, I might say, well, I completely understand that. It's a big decision. This house seems to check all your boxes, but definitely go think about it. But I wouldn't think too long, because I know that this is a great house and other people are going to want it too. So let me know what other information I can get you, you know, because sometimes, and I respect that.
Feeling uncomfortable about.
Yeah. What's there to think about? Oh, I don't know. What's there to think about? I wouldn't say that, but yeah, is there something you're uncomfortable about? Is there something, do you need some more information? Is there something I can go get for you as you make your decision?
Breeze is really good at is asking them more questions. You ever heard Nathan Breeze do these things? His objection handling is asking questions.
Asking questions.
He's so good at it.
We've got to learn to ask questions. We need to actually ask more questions than we talk. Because again, we're coming to this table, we're not going to live in that house. We're not going to pay that mortgage. We're not going to live in those neighborhoods next to those neighbors. So this really has to be their decision. It's our job to guide, to help and assist. And it is scary. And there are sometimes, well, it can be, I should say, not always, but it can be scary, even if it's exciting at the same time for them. And that's confusing. They're like, I'm excited, I want to do this, and I'm terrified at the same time. And whenever I hear that, I'm like, you know, that you're in the right place, because that's exactly how it feels. And I can tell them that, and they're like, okay, good. Because otherwise they're conflicted. So if we want more listings, more buyers, more appointments, more closings, more commission checks, we've got to get good at these conversations. And so you're going to mess up at times. You're going to put your foot in your mouth. You're going to answer the wrong question. You're going to defend when you should have just been quiet and got curious. And that's a skill. I think that's a great skill for life. That's a great skill for life. If we can learn to listen more, get curious, and ask more questions, we will understand people better. And that makes us a better agent, a better friend, a better spouse, a better human, right? Because people, what do people want? People want to be understood. People want to be seen. People want to be heard. They want to be valued. Instead of coming into this situation, and I've even sat at closing tables sometimes with closers. Now they're my buyers or my sellers, and I've worked with them all along, and I've gotten to know them. And I'll sit at a table and I watch some of these closers, not people here, but I've seen some of these closers, and they're just so matter of fact. They're blunt. They're to the point. They're just here to do their job, get the signatures, and they're out. They're with the client 20 minutes. I've just spent months with them. And so sometimes I'm like, so then I jump in and explain, like if I feel like my people are getting lost or had questions, or, I'll jump in and help with that. But this, and I guess a closer's not trying to build a referral client, but anyway, all that to say, I think if we will come from curiosity, ask more questions, learn to listen, it's going to make us better all the way around. So let's do this. I don't know, they're all kind of mixed up. Well, they're not mixed up. They're in different categories. But let's just let me give you a couple of these, and you can read them to us. I'm going to mix them up out of different categories. And it tells you at the top kind of what the category would be. We already read that one. Okay. There's one. There's one here. And then I'll pick a new category. Again, it tells you at the top, and then it tells you, is this from the buyer or from the seller? And then you can kind of read the different variations, and then you flip it over and read the back. Let's see. They're kind of sticking together. I hear that one sometimes. Okay, there you go. Just read through them, and then we're going to read them. I want you to read them to us and kind of give us what it says. All right. Take a minute to just read it, and then take your favorite one of the three. Okay. If we had more people here, I would like to put us in groups and kind of, I don't want to put anybody in the spot and make you feel, I don't want to run you off and keep you from coming to my class. But let's do this. I will read mine. I'll just kind of show you what I'm thinking. This is a seller, and the seller says, hey, can you just send me the comps? Of course, that's not what I want to do, because I don't want to just send over some comps and be done, right? I want to be able to sit with them, talk with them, that kind of thing. So this is an objection. Just send me the comps. And it could sound like, hey, can you email me a CMA? That could be the same thing. This is how it might sound from them. Or, hey, can you just text over the numbers of what you found for me? Just text them over. They act like it's no big deal. Or, yeah, just send it on over. I'll take a look later. Okay.
Have you seen the house?
No. Nope, haven't seen it yet.
I can send you the CMA, but it's gonna be a very wide range because I haven't seen your house. Have they filled out an intake form or anything like that about your house? Or about their house and send it to you?
I don't know.
It
could be.
I can send you over some comps and CMA, but it's not gonna be accurate if I haven't seen your house.
Right.
So I could come over just for 30 minutes to take a look and I can narrow down my comps, get you some better information.
There you go. There you go. What they want when they say that, they want a clean download of proof that they can review privately, because I want to do this privately and I respect that. But they want something that they can compare against what they've seen, and they want to decide on their own timeline. So that's what they could be meaning by send me your comps. So then I can say, well, absolutely, I can do that. What should the comps match most? That's not something I would ask them. But you would ask them, tell me about the condition of your house. Tell me, you can ask, and then I would also say that. I would say, absolutely, really, I can do some searching, but I'm going to be able to give you a wide range. I really would love to get in your house. It would only take me 10, 20 minutes to come over and do a quick peek, and then I can narrow my numbers down and get you more accurate. When could I come over? So that's what I would do, and ask them, when could I stop by? And then I had people say, here's another one that goes on to this. Oh, our house isn't anywhere ready to be seen by anybody. Like, it's a mess. What would you say to that?
Well, I have 2 kids. My house is a mess as well. I get it. It's very overwhelming. One thing I do for a lot of my sellers is I can come over and kind of make you a checklist of things that, like itemize them by priority. That way you have maybe just a couple of things to do that are very high priority that can kind of help you. And then the other things that are not as high of a priority, that you don't necessarily have to do those right away. Sometimes people feel like that is helpful.
I got that one last week. Oh, we're not ready. My house is a mess. It's not just dirty, it's like messy, like it's, and so I didn't win that yet. I tried a few times and then I had to back off. But, so what you can say is, you know what, I'll send over the closest recent sales and one quick line on each. I wouldn't do a big old CMA for them. If you do, like, if you can't get to the house, send them just a very basic stuff, and then send it on over, and then check in, hey, did you get it? And then follow up again, hey, what did you think about what I sent you? What did were you thinking higher or lower than that? And then if they say, well, I was kind of surprised, the numbers were kind of low. Well, you know what? I told you I can only do so much without seeing the house. So when can I stop by? And I can tighten that up for you.
That would be the pre-listing questionnaire.
There you go.
And that tells me what they think their house is worth.
Yep.
So
That's the pre-listing questionnaire is great. Jake, read one of your objections that you got.
I don't have an answer for this objection.
Okay.
They have a specific buyer in mind. So I want to sell my house, but if my neighbor buys it, I don't want to pay any commission. So I'm going to show it to my neighbor, and if he doesn't buy it, then we can go to market.
So my question would be, okay, wow, that's cool. When are you going to be talking to your neighbor about that?
This weekend.
This weekend. Okay. So maybe your neighbor's going to make a decision this weekend, maybe whether they want to buy it or not.
Yeah, they want to buy it for their kids.
Okay. Well, how about this?
It's a tough one.
It's a tough one, but I would say, all right, absolutely. This is what I would do. Chat with them about it. And would it be okay if I followed up with you Sunday evening to see what they said?
Yeah.
That's how I would handle it. Because, or I could also, because that is kind of true. If they've already been talking about it to the neighbor, I would offer to run the paperwork through. Like if that's what happens, if they offer to, to put the deal together, offer to be the transaction broker on that.
What do you charge for that?
Depends on
Depends on people.
the people.
It depends on how much you talk to them before.
Yeah. I've charged as low as 1,000, but as high as like 2,500 because it was a higher price point and they were difficult people. And I knew that. And they actually split it. So it made it more palatable. $1,250 for this person, $1,250 for that person. I got 25.
6%.
You do the whole 6.
My sellers in Butler,
Okay.
which I'd already had a conversation about them paying 4%. I'm doing everybody's stuff ahead of time. We had that months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then my buyers. It's the perfect house for my buyers. I held off on showing them that house because I've never done a transaction broker. I don't know how my sellers would accept that. Held off, and I put almost 1,000 miles on my car showing them properties everywhere. And finally said, okay, I've got one more to show you. And that's the one they wanted to buy, so I had to talk with the seller and the buyer. Buyer, I agreed 3% with them.
Mm-hmm.
That's their buyer agent. 3% and plus 1 if I'm doing all the paperwork. Sellers. My sellers agreed to do 4%. I only charge 2% to my buyers. So I got.
You got 6%. Good job, Tony.
Well, you would have caused that one. I think you deserve your 6%. I mean, you had the buyer and the seller. The one I always have a tricky one on is if the seller has the buyer already, then I'm kind of with Brandi. Sometimes they'll do paperwork.
Like if they already, because I didn't run into that exactly on one of my last listings, but I did run into the one that said the objection was, and I brought this to Sold Mastermind earlier in the spring. I'll sell this house to anybody except the neighbors up the street. I don't want to sell it to them.
That was number 2 on here.
Was it?
Yeah. Can we exclude this one person?
Yeah, I want to exclude them because they're renting and everybody else owns here. And I would not, what the objection was, I don't want to put my neighbors, we love our neighbors. I would hate to put them through that. And I thought, that's an objection. I can't do that, right? And so, but what are the chances that that guy wants to buy that house? I mean, they're pretty low. So I went ahead and took the listing and it never came up once.
But if, you know. It depends on how you talk him down. What if that guy is the guy that's gonna offer the most for this house, because he really, but he loves your neighbor,
Mhm.
and this is his chance to buy. Why would we not do it again and ask if he was to buy this house?
Well,
That
he,
would be our first person we would go to.
he just said that this guy wreaks havoc in the neighborhood and he would hate to do that to the other
He's got
neighbors.
other things, not just rent.
Right.
He's got a person.
Correct. It was a personal problem. And it was so bad, like, hey, Brandi, if you hold an open house here, that person is not allowed in my house. And I'm like, first of all, don't tell me his name. Don't tell me what he looks like. I don't want to be complicit in this, you know? And thankfully, again, none of that came to fruition. And what it actually come down to is this particular seller came in tough. He came in tough. I'm not fixing the roof. In fact, he told me, he's like, hey, Brandi, you're great. I think you're fantastic. And if we were to hire an agent, we would hire you, but we're going to sell it ourselves because we need every penny we can get out of this house. And so, of course, I tried the whole objection handling for, hey, we're going to sell it ourselves, and did all that. And he was just that stubborn. And so then I said, okay, well, here's some tips on how to sell it yourself. Here you go. And of course, they're favoring, like, make sure you do a background check on who you're letting in your house and make sure this, that, all these things. And it was helpful, but what happened was he called and he said, hey, Brandi, our moving truck is leaving on Friday. We're out. We're going to Colorado. The house will be yours. When can you come put a sign in the yard? And that's how it happened. So I just stayed in touch and followed up on, hey, haven't seen your house on Zillow yet. How close are you guys getting it listed? And hey, we're still working through things, Brandi. Thank you. And I just stayed in touch. And then all of a sudden I got that call. We're leaving on Friday. Bring your sign. It's yours. And then he didn't care. At that point, he didn't care who bought it. He didn't care who saw it. He didn't care. He didn't care. So thankfully it didn't come to that. But these are some objections I was caught off guard by that. I've never had someone say, I don't want so-and-so to buy it.
On that one, I always say, you don't have to sell it to anybody, but the more offers that we get in hand, the more leverage we have as the seller, which
Right.
usually means we can get a higher price off of that. I mean, if we don't want him to buy it, worst case, he sends us an offer, we can use it to leverage a different
somebody
offer.
else. Absolutely. Okay. Linda, what's your objection? Pick one and tell us.
Oh. This is the buyer.
Okay.
Your price is high, we will start low. So I'm guessing the
Okay.
seller's price is too high. They're gonna offer less.
Okay.
Variations are, we're not paying this price, we'll offer what we think it's worth, take it or leave it. Which
So,
I am actually in favor of. I can't tell you how many clients won't put in an offer because they don't think it's worth it. It's like, put in an offer. So,
what do you think the house is worth as the realtor?
well,
$300,000 house, how much do they want to offer for? 250?
here.
Well,
Just make up a scenario.
Two.
On a 250.
Say 250.
What do you think it's worth? You think it's worth 300?
275. You know, running the comps, I think it's worth 275. So to my buyer, I would start with,
How long has it been listed?
what do you think it's worth? And how much do you want this house?
right.
If they still want to put in a lower offer, if it's not ridiculous, then absolutely put in your offer. It opens the door
Mhm.
to a negotiation. Now, if it's a hot property.
Yeah.
Your offer is not even gonna be looked at.
Right.
So if you want this house.
Yeah.
Think about how much you want that.
So what are some questions you could ask them? Let's say it is a hot house. It's first day on the market. They already have 2 offers in hand and your guy wants to come in 30 grand low. What could be a question you could ask to help overcome that objection? Because you know that you've wasted your time. If they're going to do that, you're going to waste your time writing it up. You're not going to get the house. What's a question we could help lead him to get his price up?
Is there a reason why you don't want to pay list price?
Okay, is there a reason you don't want to pay?
Why do you not think the house is worth the asking price? What is it about the house that makes you think it's worth less?
Great. And they might say, well, it's got old roof, it needs new carpet, and they might give you a list, or here's another objection. Well, I actually love the house. I think it is worth it, but I don't pay full price for anything. We had those people.
Mhm.
Yeah. So what could we say? What's a question we could ask for that? Let's brainstorm this together. I don't pay full price for anything.
Well, what's the absolute most that you will pay for that house? If you have to have that house, what is the absolute most you'll do?
There you go.
290? Okay, well then let's do your 270 offer.
Okay.
But let's put an escalation addendum on it. You take it to 290 if that is where it ends up. If it goes 295, are you okay walking away from it?
Right.
Okay, then let's do one to 290. I almost always now, in the past few years, I almost always try to push an escalation addendum. Because I'm also wanting my client to get the house for the cheapest amount they can get.
Sure.
So if that's the case, what is the absolute most that you will pay for that house? And if that's the case, then let's start out lower and let's escalate if we need to.
The escalation clause allows you to increase it the escalation clause helps you increase it without making another.
So you can come in at like 270 and say, I'm willing to go up to 290. If there's an offer that beats my 270, let's say somebody comes in at 280 or 85, if you put an escalation clause, it kind of like automatically kicks in and it beats that other offer, but you can't go over 290. Like you have to cap it.
Yeah. My client will pay 2,000 over the next highest offer, not to exceed 290. So if they get 289 offer, my folks are out. Although I want the agent to call me. Because I'm gonna ask my folks, hey, they got
Right.
289 offer. Are you willing to walk away over $1,000? Okay then. So we're open to 291 if the case arises. Just so we've had that conversation ahead of time.
Yeah. Well, and in that way, Taylor, if they're willing to pay 290, they're willing to pay 290. But if Tony can help them get it for 282 with this escalation thing, because maybe somebody came in at 280 and his buyer, because of this escalation, beats any competing offer by 2,000, that escalates them up to 282. They could possibly get the house for 282, even if they were willing to pay 290. That makes sense? We'll have a class on escalation clauses later this month.
Then they look at me as keeping $8,000 in their pocket.
Yep.
So.
And Tony's a hero, and that's great.
Another way to handle that objection, coming in low, is that talking about how prices increase over the next years. That if we want to keep coming in low on these houses and keep missing the opportunities, say it takes us a year to find a house, and we're going to be in the same situation next year, just the prices are going to be higher. Houses right now are going for 99.2% of list price. If we want to find a junker house that nobody wants, I think that would be a house that we could get a deal on. But those houses, I think that if we're going to write those offers, maybe we should wait for them to sit on the market for at least 7 days before we go take a look at it.
Yeah. Another thing about the whole pricing objection, especially when things were crazy during the COVID days and people were having to go over the list price to win the house. I would always ask them, what's the price that if you win the offer at that price, you can still sleep at night knowing that you're okay with it? And what's the price that if you lose it for that price, you're relieved? You know, what that means is if at 295 is my number. If I get it for it's listed at 270, I'm willing to pay 295, but I'm not willing to pay 296. Kind of find that number that, you can sleep at night knowing you, what's that?
Back when I sold insurance, I would sell a lot of life insurance. I asked the wife, I said, would you kill your husband for $1 million? She said, no. I said, would you kill him for 3? She'd go, I'm like, okay, so 3's too high. So
Oh my God.
that kind of reminded me of that question.
Yeah.
People always like that.
Well, we got, because back in those days, it was a little crazy. People were having to go 10, 20, 30 grand over list to win houses. And, then sometimes they would win the house and then they would have buyer's remorse and go, oh my gosh, what did we just do? I had one client, I know I'm a little off topic, but I had one client in Grandview. We overbid for the house by 25 or 35. I don't even remember. It was a lot. It was at least around 30,000 over on a $200 and some thousand Grandview house on Buyers Road. And when I thought for sure the appraisal would come back low and we would get to negotiate, I thought there's no way this house is going to go for that. And it did. It did. And so I had to deliver the news and I'm like, hey, guess what? The appraisal came in at value. And I didn't know whether to say congratulations or I'm so sorry. I don't know. But they were okay with it, but they were a little shocked. And I did notice that that the whole transaction changed after that when they were ready to throw more money at it. I was like, hold on, stop it. Anyway. All right, Taylor, what's your objection?
Well, I want to do this one.
Okay.
It just kind of piggybacks off what you just said. The appraisal came in low.
The appraisal came in low. Okay, that's something we gotta tackle. On the back,
Is that objection for the seller?
Seller
or
buyer.
objection for the buyer?
It's a seller appraisal gap.
and then on the back, what's the logic there?
The logic is a low appraisal fees or feels unfair and threatening. They don't want to give up value and they fear the deal dies over a number they did not pick.
Okay, so we have to go back to the seller and say, hey, seller, the house isn't worth what we thought, what we got the offer for. So what do they recommend?
There's 3 options. The lender limit, totally get it. The number isn't a judgment. It's a lender's limit for the buyer. We need a plan to cover the gap. And then there's a repass. There's 3 options here. Price adjust, buyer brings in cash, or we meet in the middle. Which one do you want to lead with? Or a momentum choice. If you want to hold the price, the buyer may need to bridge the gap. If you want speed, a small move can keep it going. Your call.
Okay, so if we're working with our seller, the appraisal came in low. We obviously have to figure out a way forward if possible. How do we help our seller understand? Like, what are some things we can help guide our seller on for the listing agent?
First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send an appeal over to the appraiser. Here are some comps that I think really support the value that we listed. So let's do that first and see. Usually we listed at 300, the appraisal came back at 290. 90% of the time, it's gonna come back somewhere in the middle. Sometimes they don't even reply to the email, depends on the appraiser, but I'm assuming after we appeal, maybe we'll get them to come up another 5,000 and see, and then we can go from there. It's usually the first.
What would be an objection to say, okay, the appeal failed, buyer has no money or won't bring any extra. I guess we asked the seller, are you willing to drop your price 10 grand?
Is it FHA?
Yes, it is.
I mean, we've got a first time, your house is a kind of an entry level house. Most people that are gonna buy this house is gonna be an FHA buyer. And so this appraisal is gonna stick with it for 4 months. Isn't it 4 months now? It used to be 6.
I thought it was 6, but maybe it's 4.
I think they switched to 4.
Okay.
I'll test out on that for 4 months. So if we go back to the market, now we're saying we're gonna eliminate 70% of our buyers because we're not accepting an FHA loan, because then we're gonna be in the same scenario that we are right now with that same appraisal value. So with less buyers, that usually means our price goes down a little bit. So I honestly think this is gonna be our best play, unfortunately.
And by the time the appraisal is done on the house, usually the seller knows where they're going. And so what would that look like if we have to, maybe they're contingent on buying something else, that would obviously hinder that. It's about finding the way forward and painting the picture for them.
Brandi, would you cut your commission to change that gap?
Shoot, Jake.
That'd be a question. That's a good, I mean, I'm trying to think of objections here in that scenario.
Would be, unfortunately, that's not something I'm willing to do. But let's look and see what we can do. And, once you've exhausted everything else and you paint the picture with like, hey, I know this is a bummer. This isn't what we planned. I would give them a new updated estimated. Sometimes they need a new estimated proceeds sheet to see, okay, that's not so bad. That's not as bad. Or can we get the buyer to meet us halfway? Can we, there's so many ways. Giving out commission is the last thing I want to do. I've done it to keep the deal together.
What about the buyer's agent commission?
I would definitely ask that. For them to split it with me. If that's what it comes to.
Yeah.
I wouldn't ask them to do what I'm not willing to do though. That's just me personally.
I did that on our last.
Did you?
They asked for closing cost assistance.
Mhm.
And of course, my seller, who we all know, this one, yeah, paying that, I'm not paying that this month. So It's like, you know, you're going to, at this price point, you're going to, everybody's gonna ask for
Mhm.
assistance. What I will do is I will ask the buyer's agent to cut her commission, because I was already giving him a discount, I was doing it for 2.5, so I asked her to do the same, and she did. Get her buyers in.
Sometimes I hate to, sometimes there's just certain situations you have to. Feel like you have to. So any of you ever had to do it? Cut your commission to keep the deal together? No. Thank goodness, yeah. Yeah. It doesn't happen very often. I usually find a way around it, but,
Well, I mean, you're off by $10,000 on a $300,000 house, that's $9,000 commitment for. The numbers don't work out. So, I mean, I didn't get to the size, let's get the meals, I need to do it also.
absolutely.
Yeah, but Tony, you told me it was worth 300,000 and you were wrong.
No, more than likely, Tony told you it was worth 290 and you wanted to go 300. And he had the conversation with you that we may not get that, we have to be willing to make an adjustment if we're gonna have to.
Right.
So, and again, we usually always have the conversation of what if it doesn't appraise?
Mhm.
So especially if they want to go a little high, then definitely. It's not going to appraise for that. The house peculiar wants to go 457. It's not going to appraise 457. So no matter what we do, this is not going to work. So.
Good job, Tony.
But I don't know that I would cut my commission for any. This was family member, so going in. Plus he brought me 4 transactions.
The only time I've had to do it was, the only time I had to do it was when it was my buyer had no money to bring to the table beyond what they had. They brought what they were bringing. What I found out, and I bet you didn't know this because I learned a lesson. When they pull that title search and they do a title search, they are also searching the buyer, believe it or not. Because you think it's about the house. Make sure there's no liens, make sure the taxes are paid, all that stuff on the house. My buyer's name came up on the title search of the house. And he had a back, I don't remember if it was a back tax bill that he hadn't paid on, or could have been back child support possibly. It was some sort of judgment against him that the IRS required payment on before they allowed him to buy the house. Didn't know that was possible. He didn't know that was possible. We all learned together, and my guy was $1,600 short from being able to buy the house. The other agent was one of those your future address brokerages, or like Open Door or something like that, where the agent gets paid like an hourly wage. They don't even get a commission. So she couldn't give any more. She already wasn't making money. There was no other money. Even the lender said, I've cut my commission, I've cut my fees, I've cut everything. The only other place we can pull money is your commission. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so I did it, and but I didn't do it. Well, I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, just take it. I drug my feet. I let them know I need to think about this, even though, and I kind of did. I was like, because, you know, we have family, we have kids, we've got, you know, this isn't my livelihood. I need to talk to my husband about this. And I made them kind of wait, my buyers wait to see what my decision was going to be. And I chose to do it. Kept the deal together. They bought the house. And I'll tell you what, they've referred me to 4 other buyers and sellers since then. So for me, it was a worthy investment. I didn't do it, you know, they knew that it hurt me and cost me something, but, you know, they were thankful and grateful. So, Tony, do you have an objection you want to read to us?
Price cut makes us look desperate.
Yeah, if we discount, so it's a seller.
Yep.
You had some, I don't know if you had that objection, but you had some price cut conversations. How'd that go?
But then that goes into, I want to cancel the contract also because of price cutting. Again, in each case, it didn't make them look desperate, it made them look stubborn.
Hmm.
Because there's 2 kinds of price cuts. There's price cuts to sell a home, and there's price cuts to get people to look at it again. Just because it brings it up fresh and new on the MLS. So these folks, I went through 11 price cuts in that year. Several of which were $1,000, just to make it look new on the MLS. And what sold the buyers that bought it came into open house number 16.
Mhm.
So those are people that actually bought a year later. So those people that want to go 457 actually walked away with about 325.
Would you say 427?
450s.
457 to 325?
They were gonna replace me with another agent, blah, blah, blah.
You had to handle a lot of objections throughout that.
Sucked really bad, yeah. It was a big, giant learning experience, but the whole making it look desperate, it doesn't make you look desperate. It makes you look like you're still in play in the game.
Mhm.
You're still playing. You're still playing. And we had this conversation up front. We don't get so many viewings, so many offers, then we're going to lower the price. That doesn't make us look desperate. It makes us look like we're listening to what the market is saying. The market is telling us your house is not a $400,000 house. Then we go to 390. The market's telling us it's not a 390 house. Oh, we just got interest. We got an offer at 380. Do you want to stick at 390 or do you want to go with this 380 offer? So the market's telling you it's around 380. We had 2 405 offers, cash offers on that 457 house. They didn't want to do it. And then again, we went under contract at 360. And they weren't going to pay an agent, which they ended up paying an agent. They had to put brand new AC and furnace in. And they had to stucco get cracks in it. There's a company that'll patch the cracks and paint the outside of the house. They had to pay for that too. So they walked away at 325 versus at 405 cash. We don't know if they would have asked for anything to be done, but that was 8 months earlier.
So your people learned a lot too.
They paid what we call a stupid tax. It would be greedy.
Yeah.
So, but hey, it all happened. It all went well. God got us through that. We're good. So,
Wow. That's tough. That's tough. There's a lot of objections you got to overcome.
so it doesn't make you look desperate. It just makes you look like you're being attentive. I'm just telling you, it's not.
Right. When you go on the market, it's kind of like merging onto the highway, and you're gonna we don't know how fast the cars are going until we get in there and we drive with them. You know, sometimes we're doing all right. Sometimes we need to speed up, and sometimes we need to slow down. We pivot and make those adjustments once we're on the highway. And so sometimes going on the market is kind of like that. We're going to do our best guess, or our best. We've done our research. We've done our studying. We're going to go on the market. We think we can get this price. We won't know till we're there. We've left it on the market a week, 10 days, 20 days. Things are sitting a little longer now. Hey, again, we make our best judgment, and then we just jump in, go for it. So I don't know if anybody, let's see. Is anybody, let me think. I'm trying to figure out, we did a drawing for the cards since you guys are here. I
think they need to go to the newest person.
Well, I'm going to keep a set because I'm going to use them again. They're pretty good. They're pretty good. Thank you. I know it wasn't exactly, we need more players to play our game, and I didn't want to put you guys on the spot too bad. And, but there's some really great, your fellow agents nominated you there, girl. I'm going to keep a pack in my office. Yes, I'm going to leave a pack in my office. And, you know, if you even wanted to make a